Good morning, students. From your textbook, Footprints Without Feet, we are doing chapter number 6, The Making of a Scientist. We read that how the book served as an encouragement and opened a new world for Ebrard, the book that is The Travels of Monarch X. And then he participated in Science County Science Fair. Over there, he exhibited the slides of a frog tissue under a microscope, but he did not win because he realized that though it was a neat display, it was not a real experiment. And then his competitive spirit was roused. He was determined that he is going to come again for the next year's county fair, and he is going to do real experiments. He started raising the caterpillars in the presence of beetles because he learned that the caterpillars, the monarch caterpillars, are killed by a viral disease that is spread by the beetles. Though he was not able to prove how the monarch caterpillars are killed, but then he took the same experiment in county fair and he won an award. Next year, he thought that I'm going to do something more. I'm going to explore this world of science. So he started working that how and why Viceroy butterflies copy monarch. He learned that monarchs do not taste good to birds, but then Viceroy butterflies are birds' dinner. So he started working that how Viceroy butterflies try to imitate monarchs so that they do not become a victim of birds. And he took the same experiment and won the third overall position in the county science fair. Now let's continue reading with the chapter and see what all experiments did Ebrard do. In his second year in high school, Richard Ebrard began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory on the life of cells. So in today's session, we are going to read that how Richard Ebrard, when he was in second year in high school means the 10th standard. So he was in just 10th standard, and he discovered an insect hormone, and this was unknown. It was not known. It was not familiar, and he discovered and this discovery of insect hormone led to a new theory, that is the life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Now, he was doing a discovery. On a discovery, he learned about the insect hormone. And through this discovery, he made a new theory on the life of cells. So, the simple questions he put was that what is the purpose behind the tiny gold spots, the 12 tiny gold spots on Mark pupa, and this led to his discovery of insect hormone. Everyone assumed the spots were just ornamental, Ebrard said, but Dr. Gruhat didn't believe it. Now, most of the people are whoever sees a beautiful butterfly and the spots on it, or any other person, they believe it's ornamental. It's just to beautify a butterfly. When it will grow into that pupa will turn into a butterfly. But even Dr. Hutt was not in favor of the same. He also believed differently, that no, it's not ornamental. There might be some purpose behind it. To find the answer, Ebrard and another excellent science student first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. Now, to find out what is the purpose behind these 12 tiny gold spots, Ebrard uh, and his friend, or an excellent science student, one of the students, they had to prepare a device first. They have to build a device first so that they can study those spots under that device, and they can read that how these spots were producing a hormone that was necessary for the growth of a butterfly. This project won Ebrard first place in the county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. Now, when he did this experiment, he made this device and he did this experiment on the 12 gold spots of pupa, the monarch pupa. He won an first position in the county fair, and he again got an entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for zoology, and over there he won the third position. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, and because of the same project he was given a chance that he can go for the further studies and do his research in a laboratory, that is Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. So he got this opportunity to do this in that laboratory. Entomology means the scientific study of insects, and laboratory, obviously it is a place to carry out experiments. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Ebrard got the idea for his new theory about cell life. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of the chemical structure of hormone. So in the beginning, when we started this chapter, we learned that how at the age of 22, the new theory was found. The new theory was on how cells work, and this is what exactly we are talking over here, that he was going through some X-ray photos of chemical structure of an hormone, and he came to know about cell life. When he saw those photos of chemical structure of hormone, Ebrard didn't shout Eureka or even have got it. Now he did not shout happily and got excited and started shouting. Eureka, that is, I found it. He was very calm. But he believed that, along with his findings about insect hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of biology's puzzles, how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. So through these photos of the chemical structure of hormone, he was able to get an idea of the theory about cell life. Along with it, he found out the answer to the biggest puzzles. And the answer to the biggest biology puzzle was that the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint for life. Now, what exactly is DNA? DNA is the nucleus of a cell, and it tells what? It determines the form and function of cell. It controls heredity. It controls the patterns, behavior, everything. Thus, DNA is a blueprint of life. So DNA is a blueprint of the life. So heredity means generic endowment. So DNA is actually what? Deoxyribonucleic acid. It is a chemical name for the molecule that carries genetic instructions in all living beings. That is the heredity part, the behavior, every bit is DNA. It is a blueprint. Blueprint means pattern, plan for life. So while he was going through these photos of chemical structure of hormone, he came to know that cells can read the DNA, and DNA is actually the blueprint for life. Ebrard and his college roommate James R. Wrong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models of molecules to show how it could happen. Together they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. So Ebrard and his college mate, that is James R. Wrong, they throughout the night were drawing pictures and were making plastic models of molecules to understand what? To understand that how the cells are getting affected by the DNA. And afterwards they also wrote the detailed report of the same to explain the theory that the cells are affected by the DNA. Surprising no one who knew him, Richard Ebrard graduated from Harvard with highest honor, second in his class of 1510. Ebrard went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. So it was not a surprise for anyone. Nobody was surprised by his rank because Richard Ebrard, graduated from Harvard University with the highest honors amongst 1510, this class, the strength of 1510. He was the one who had got the highest honors, and nobody was surprised because he was a keen student. He had a brilliant mind, he was a curious one. And Ebrard went on to become a graduate student researcher. Graduate student researcher is PhD. So he did the PhD from Harvard Medical School also, and he began doing experiments to test his theory, the theory about how cells work are affected by the DNA. He was continuing with the same on the detailed research of the same. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the processes of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of Ebrard's scientific curiosity. His high school research into the purpose of the spots on a monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about self-life. So where did it all start? It all actually started with his collecting of butterflies in the basement. And from them he started working on the differentiation between a viceroy butterfly and a monarch butterfly, and then his curiosity towards the 12 gold spots on the monarch pupa, and then how this 12 gold spots are just not ornamental, they produce hormone. And then he was guided into the theory of cell life. So when he's going through this theory of cell life, he is seeing that the cell is getting affected by DNA. If this theory is correct, then it would be a great revelation. It might be a great research or a theory that can cure cancer and many major diseases. So this all was possible because he had this scientific curiosity. He had that keen desire towards learning, and because of this he was into going through the theory about cell life. Richard Ebrard has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies, but not so deeply that he hasn't time for other interests. Ebrard also became a champion debater and a public speaker and a good canoeist, an all-around outdoor person. He is also an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. So while we are reading this chapter, we might be wondering because he's into doing many experiments, he's into doing research, he might be all a bookworm into science and stuff. No, he made sure that he is going to give time to his own self. He is going to groom himself, and not as a altogether a whole personality, a model. And what he did, his interest in science started when he started collecting butterflies, but he made sure that he is not going to suppress the interest that he has with nature or other things. He was a very good debater, a public speaker. He enjoyed canoeing. Canoe is a boat, and he loved going for outdoors also. And he was very good photographer. He loved taking pictures of photograph of nature, of scientific exhibits. In high school, Richard Ebrard was a straight A student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and model United Nations clubs. He also found someone to admire, Richard A. Wieherer, his social studies teacher and advisor to both clubs. Mr. Wieherer was the perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Ebrard said. So because he was a very keen learner, a keen student, a curious student, and moreover he had a bright mind, so learning was easy. And with all subjects he was a A student. A student means he scored A grade. And he not only made sure that he was into learning his subjects, but he also participated in many other competitions also. He was a part of Model United Nations clubs also, and he enjoyed debating also. So Mr. Richard A. V. Herrer was his social studies teacher. He was a guide, he was advisor to both the things, that is debating and MUN. And Ebrard also says that he was the person, a perfect person, who has opened a new world for him, opened his mind to new ideas of debating and MUN. Richard would always give that extra effort. Mr. V. Harris said, "What pleased me was, here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research, beside doing all his research with butterflies and his other interests." And Richard V. Harris, his teacher, also admired the student, that is Richard Ebrard, and he says that he was into science. He loved exploring the world of science. He did researches with butterflies and other things, but at the same time, when he's utilizing his time studying and doing research on butterflies, he also made sure that when he's participating in MUN clubs or he's debating, he's utilizing 4 or 5 hours in doing the research for the debate also, for his public speaking also. Richard was competitive, Mr. Weherer continued, but not in a bad sense. He explained, Richard wasn't interested in winning for winning's sake or winning to get a prize. Rather, he was winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. For the right reason, he wants to be the best. So Mr. Weherer praises him and says that he was a competitive person, and competitive in a good sense, that a competition spirit was there. It was not related to any ego of winning or getting a position or first position or getting a prize. No, it was not that. The competitive spirit was what? The competitive spirit was to do the best, as a participant. And the right reason for Richard was learning, because the world of new ideas was there. Learning was there when he was into, whether it is a debate or whether it was research. So the right reason was to learn more and more and to come out with best things. He wants to be the best. And that is one of the ingredients in the making of a scientist. Start with the first-rate mind, add curiosity, and mix in the will to win for the right reason. Ebrard has these qualities. So we have been told what is the best components to become the best, or what are the components to become a good scientist or a great scientist. First, you require is a good mind, a brilliant mind. Then you should have a keen desire, keen interest, eagerness. And then you should have right reason. Right reason is to learn and learn. Learning should never come to a halt. It should never stop. Ebrard had all these qualities. From the time the book The Travels of Monarch X opened the world of science to him, Richard Ebrard has never lost his scientific curiosity. So the book The Travels of Monarch X opened a whole new world of science for Richard Ebrard. And from then onwards, his scientific curiosity has multiplied. It did not come to a stop. And his curiosity towards science increased, as a desire to learn more increase. And that is what is Richard Ebrard, the making of a scientist with all the qualities of a brilliant mind, a curious person, and an eager person, and a learner in all its stages.